Listen to this hilarious interaction about Elon Musk.
Elon interviewed me on something.
Yeah.
And I think they said 275 million hits or listeners.
That's a lot of people.
That was a record.
That's a nation. Yeah.
But it's a whole new, different way of
Can I ask you a question
getting the word out, right?
about Elon specifically? Is he your favorite African-American?
He's a piece of work, I'll tell you. You know, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously a brilliant guy.
Yeah.
I mean, when I saw the rocket engines come back, I said, what is that? Like a couple of years ago, you've never seen rockets go up and then they crash into the water.
Yeah.
And I see the engines are coming back and they're landing.
It's unbelievable.
They're landing and they land on a raft in the middle of the ocean someplace with a little dot and they land right on the top of the spot.
And my wife can't parallel park.
I know, most people can't. But no, he's great. But he's got a great heart. He was with me, as you know, on the other night. Yeah. And we were honoring a man who got killed at a rally, Corey, firefighter, great guy. And it was a beautiful evening. But Elon went out and he loved the crowd. He loves the country. Yeah. And he's picked a side. A lot of people don't want to pick a side. I have a lot of people that are big supporters of me. Yeah. But they won't go all out. You know, they can't.
They're scared.
Quite.
There's a cost.
Scared. Yeah. There's a cost. Yeah. There is a cost, but there's also a liability. I mean, you know, some people...
There's always a cost to standing up for what you believe in.
I respected a lot when this guy was up there doing jumping jacks. You got to vote for Trump. You got to vote for...
He was jumping high.
Yeah. He was jumping high.
He looked quite African.
When he jumped, he's in good shape. I'm looking at his waist. I'm saying, wait a minute, does he work out or something? But he had a great time. And, you know, he's not out that much. He's probably maybe a little, would you say he's a little reclusive, possibly?
Yeah. He's also busy. He's
very busy and maybe a little reclusive. Yeah. But he had the greatest time. He was saying, look at these people. We had 100,000, more than 100,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
It was a record. It was, nobody's ever seen. And it was really, it was a celebration of a life. And it was really it was a MAGA deal.
Yeah.
And he was a big MAGA person. His family was there. And two other people that were very badly hurt were also celebrated. They were very badly hurt. They weren't actually expected to live. Yeah. And they lived. And they had incredible doctors. Some of those country doctors are better than the big doctors that we spend a lot of money on. And they don't do as good. I will tell you right now. I don't want to knock anybody, but those country doctors saved two people because I was told that 3 would... No, think of that.
Normally, I jump in a lot here, but I want to let Trump flow for a minute here.
3 would be in trouble. And 3 were going to, now Corey immediately, but the other 2 were so bad that they thought they wouldn't make it. Yeah. And those country doctors, they pulled them together. They did a great job.
Okay, so you're going back into this place where, you know, there was this assassination attempt. They hit you. Headshot. Yeah. You survive.
Yeah. It was not a good feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you scared?
Better, by the way.
No, I'm not scared. You know, I have an attitude. It's interesting. It's sort of, it is what it is. Does that make any sense to you guys? You know, you do what you have to do. I felt it was important to go back. A lot of people, I guess, agreed with me because it was over 100. I think they said 108,000 people in the end. That's a lot of people.
Super Bowl.
And I had no guitar. You know, if you have a guitar, it's easy. When you don't have a guitar...
I thought you said Qatar.
I have guitar. I do have that. They like me very much. But I don't have a guitar.
Yeah, you have a guitar, yes.
So anyway, but that was it was amazing. I mean, no, I like it when somebody like Elon, who has a lot to lose, is willing to do what's right. Yeah. Some people know it's right to do, and I'm not just talking about endorsements and all, but they don't want to do things because they're...
they don't want it to cost them opportunities.
The word is they want to be politically correct. And actually, they're doing a bad thing, I think, for themselves and for a lot of people they may represent.
Okay, opening line when you walk out there.
So, right.
I mean,
I was wondering what you were going to say. And as a comedian, you can seize the moment.
Yeah.
And
I think he was a hell of a comedian, by the way.
No, I appreciate that.
That's what the word is.
So I hear you go, I see the video and you go up there and you go, as I was saying.
Right.
Crowd goes fucking berserk or what?
They went, I would say, crazy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure.
You've experienced?
Yeah, I'll tell you how, you have this as a comedian or even not as a comedian, just when you make a speech or you make some very serious statement.
Yeah.
So we're at a very serious and somber thing because we're celebrating a life that is no longer with us. And I wasn't sure whether or not that thing, I had it in my mind for a long time. Once I said I'm going back, which I wanted to go back immediately, I wanted to actually finish my speech, okay? When I got up, I said, let me finish my speech. But I'm surrounded by like 8 very large, strong men and a very wonderful woman. You saw that. But I'm surrounded by guys. I said, sir, no way, go. And I have blood pouring down, but I really wanted to finish my speech. I said, I think I had like 50,000. I had a lot of people there. And, you know, when I went down, I was sort of like embarrassed. I said, I went down in front of all these people. You know, that was my first thing. I don't want to be embarrassed.
You were embarrassed? You went down after being shot?
You were sure. Well, you weren't exactly sure what the hell was happening at first, you know.
But also, you came back up with the fist raised. That's one of the hardest pictures.
But I was also,
Did you hear them say he's down, or were you just
so when I got hit, I assume that, it's funny.
Is it?
When I was down there, it is sort of strange, I guess. Now it's a little bit, we can smile a little bit, but not really, because the 3 guys, 1 killed, two very badly. But when I went down, I had total realization. It wasn't a surreal. You know, they talked about a surreal. That could be a surreal experience, like when something happens, some traumatic thing happens. People they lose focus. They have no idea where they are. You know, I've heard many people where that happens. Something really terrible happens that. It was just the opposite. I knew exactly what had happened. I got shot in the ear, and Secret Service thought I may have been shot. Actually, they were pretty sure that I was shot all over because there was a lot of blood. Just a little fact, if you get shot in the ear, it's the bloodiest place. It bleeds more than anything else.
Oh, wow.
Now, it's good to be shot this way, not that way. That way, that's bad. So if I don't turn, I would be doing this right now, guaranteed. And Don told me, actually, he's a great shooter. So is Eric. They're great shooters. They're like better than scratch. Okay, if you use it. And they say it's amazing because it was 130 yards. To me, that sounds like far away, but it's not. For shooting, it's not. He said that would be like sinking a 1-foot putt for just a decent shooter.
Wow.
And I don't know if you guys are shooters, but they said if you're a shooter, it's almost impossible to miss. It's that close. It's really considered that close. I mean, 300, 400, 500 yards is very doable, but this is supposed to be very close. And so he said, I think Don became more religious, actually, you want to know the truth. It had a big impact. He said, it's impossible. The doctor, actually, when I got to the hospital, they were fantastic, Butler Hospital. I get there, and the doctor greeted me, and he looked at me and looked it over. He said, you are the luckiest man I've ever met.
Wow.
He said, you should immediately go out and buy a lotto ticket. Can you imagine? He's telling me to buy a lotto ticket. There's blood all over the place. And he said, I've been doing this for 25 years. He said, I've never seen a thing like this.
Wow.
Because it's just, just whacked it, but it was something that was, relatively not so bad compared to what could have happened. So I feel very lucky. It was an amazing experience, a horrible experience in most ways. In some ways, it was beautiful because I was somehow I hopefully Corey's protected too, who's the firefighter, and he's in a good place, maybe a better place than we're in here, because this world is a little bit on the tough side. But it was an amazing experience.
Do you feel like a increase in your spirituality after something like this? Well,
maybe, especially when I'm hearing from people that do shoot and are good at it, that it was almost impossible to miss from, like a 1-foot putt. You start to very hard. You got to miss it. That's a bad putt, right? He equated it to a 1-foot putt. When they say that, I say, wow, that's so, you're saying, they said a bad shooter would hit you from that distance 100% of the time.
Wow.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And here I am. We're doing this wonderful interview with 4 geniuses that are hot as pistols, right? Good hair on this guy.
Likewise, sir.
Pretty good stuff you got. So anyway, but here we are.
Who do you think tried to take you out?
Who does Trump think tried to kill him?
So I'm going to give you some big breaking news, right?
Love that.
Because I know the kind of show and it's entertainment, but it's also very serious. I mean, I get the whole picture. And you know what? If it was just funny stuff, you wouldn't have the success you've got, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
It's nice to intersperse it, but I'll give you something. So, first of all, I have great respect for the Secret Service. And the guys that were with me, I went down and I did a good job going down because those bullets were winging over my head. If I would have been up for another couple of seconds, I also wouldn't have been here. But I didn't consider that as lucky as turning to the right at that it was like 1/16 of a second was the only time that I was safe, essentially. Right. If I would have gone a little further, I would have been hit. If I would have gone not as far, I would have been hit. I mean, I had like this little tiny moment. And the amazing thing is the sign is always on my left. And it's always at the end, and I only use it 20% of the time, maybe even less than that.
And this was a chart. Right.
This was a chart on immigration because I have the record. I did a great job in immigration. They are not doing too well right now.
Stay on the breaking news. Stay on the breaking news.
So here's the breaking news. So you have this shooter, and you have another shooter, right? So this shooter had 3 or so cell phones. The FBI's never gotten them opened.
Wow.
The other shooter, 3 apps, they call them. And I believe they were foreign-based apps, from what I understand.
Oh, wow.
They haven't opened them, and they're foreign-based. And, you hear all about Iran, because I was rough with Iran, but I want to see Iran do great.
Yeah.
But I want to stop all the killing and all this. And I was rough on Iran, and they supposedly have a hit on me. In fact, I think it takes great courage for you people to be interviewing me, because it could be now,
Yeah. Well, we didn't know that before we got in here.
No, if you would have known that, you might not have done this.
Exactly.
Secret Service.
In fact, this is a good way of me getting the interview to be shorter. All of a sudden, he's going to say, okay, that's it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Go see my daughter.
They have 3 apps, and foreign-based, 2 of them, maybe 3 of them are foreign-based. They haven't opened them yet. Why wouldn't you open them when you hear about Iran or when you hear about, foreign? Then the other one had 6 cell phones, and they haven't opened. Now, it's very hard to open a cell phone. Only Apple can do it in theory, unless you have somebody. But they had no problem getting the J6 people's cell phones open. They opened their cell phones very quickly. We have 2 countries in a way. What's happening here is very bad. It's very dangerous. We almost had one because I had the greatest economy in the history of our country, and people were coming together. We almost had one, but we really do have 2 right now, and it's a shame because I think we'll get them together. Success will bring us together, but they should get those phones opened. And, when there's an assassination attempt on a former president who's now, I'm proud to say, leading in all the polls against the Democrat, I don't know which one is running. You don't know what the hell's going on. I'm the only one that had to run against 2. I run against 2 Democrats, but this is a first. We create a lot of firsts. Usually you run against somebody. Here I run. I had the debate. I was way up on him. Yeah. And then they say, let's put this is like with Dana White, a fighter. So you're fighting, and the one guy's getting killed. And they say, that's okay, let's put in another fighter to finish it off, okay? And you're fighting and say, hey, wait a minute, I have a brand new fighter in here.
WWE.
I spent $150 million on beating Biden, and then all of a sudden I hear that they're going to overthrow him. It was a coup. I mean, it really was. But I would like them to open up these apps and find out what's in there. And so he had six cell phones. Who has 6 cell phones? Mm-hmm. Having 6 cell phones is weird. I have cell phones. If I ever have 2, it's like a lot. Yeah. He had 6 cell phones. Why does he have them? And why haven't they opened up those cell phones?
So if you had to
and
guess.
It's different. If you're a drug dealer, I think it's terrible in many ways, but I guess from another standpoint, Apple, the primary group, people buy those phones because they will never open them for any reason. Mm-hmm. But they got them open on J6. They opened up their phones, but they don't open. And this is big stuff. This is an assassination attempt, and it could involve other countries.
There was that San Bernardino shooter that they hacked. The FBI was able to hack into the phone. Apple didn't give it up, but they were able to hack in.
There are some people in the world, very few, that have an ability to sometimes be able to hack in.
Got it.
Very rarely, actually.
Yeah.
What do you think about Apple's decision not to unlock the phones?
It's an amazing thing when you think that with all the genius, you almost can't do it. But Apple has a key, and the key is open. I mean, they can do it immediately. Yeah. but they don't do it. And they don't do it. And that's one of the reasons that, like, I hate to say it, drug lords feel very confident that they'll never be exposed. And they use their cell phones, their Apple phones, and maybe it's that way with other companies. I don't know. They have Samsung, they have other companies. But it's very hard. Apple's very strong on that. But when it comes to the assassination of a president, leading candidate, former president, all that, I think the rules have to go out and they have to open those things and they have to find out. And
in terms of national security,
some people would say you have to either punish Apple or you have to get somebody that can do it. But in terms of national security, so the one guy has 6 phones, lots of messages to people. Who are those people he's calling when he's hiding behind a bush?
So if you had to guess, I'm sure obviously you've thought about this a lot. It's an assassination attempt. If you had to guess, who do you think is responsible?
These are great questions. What the hell? I don't get these questions from the fake news.
Rosie O'Donnell's
like,
asking
like
this.
Deface the Nation. They have the woman on Brennan. She's on Deface the Nation. She was terrible with the way she handled J.D. Vance, who did a great job the other night.
He did a great job.
But I don't get questions like that. Did you ever hear of the show Deface? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Donald Trump on Deface the Nation. It's called Face the Nation. They hate me. They spend millions of dollars.
They would name a show that?
Oh, I see. You didn't hear of it. That's good. They spend millions of dollars on the name CBS. Yeah. And then I come along and I say it's Face the Nation. Well done. Or Meet the Fake Press. Meet the press.
You're good at this.
I say Meet the Fake Press. And they spend all this money and then I say it once and it goes to millions of people. But no, they are fake. But some of these questions are much better.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm honored.
Much better.
You still haven't answered, though.
That was the best dodge of the question.
That's your second best dodge of your life.
You almost charmed us out of it.
Trying to get out of it.
All right, fair enough.
Well, look, if you look at assassinations or attempts, first of all, you realize I'm in a very dangerous business. Okay? Because 1/10, think of this, 1/10 of 1% of auto races die. Bull riders, I think that's pretty dangerous, right? I don't know much about it, but I think I wouldn't want to be on one of those suckers.
No.
I see them flying off and the hoof is like an inch from the eye, and when it hits the eye, you're gone, right? And they are well, it's about the same. 1/10 of 1%. And other things, it's never much more than that. That's sort of maxed out, I think. Race car drivers, bull riders, I think that's pretty much tough. UFC fighters, it's none. I don't think anyone's ever actually...
Not in UFC. In MMA or boxing,
maybe. It
must
be.
Those tragic events.
Amazingly, boxers die a lot. But UFC, Dana tells me it's a safe sport. I say, to me, it's much rougher. But, it's pretty amazing. They've never, in UFC, they've never lost. And they run a great operation. Nobody's died. But with presidents, it's like a substantial percentage.
Way higher than we realize.
When you look at Lincoln and Kennedy and this and that. I mean,
attempts,
you go
Reagan.
through McKinley.
Garfield.
You look at a lot of people. I'm in a very dangerous
business.
Profession.
Like, comment, and subscribe for more.